Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. You all know my lovely co-host, Wade Renard. How are you doing there, buddy?
Hey, guys.
And we got one of our favorite people back, Ron Brown. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank y'all for having me back on.
Two perfectly good airplane jumping people. That's how... and it's funny. We were supposed to have James on. He had a family emergency, so y'all put him in the prayers. Also, yeah, we do our after show. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining and talk about listen to what we talk about in the after show that probably can't be said on here, but we can say it on there. So tonight's a really important message, and we got a lot of information, and I want to get right out to it. Ron, let's get into it, man.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate y'all's time. We had our follow-up meeting from our 12/18/25 meeting to check the progress on the issues that the Department of War was working on for us that we had addressed with them concerning Gulf War and CAMASEA and chemical exposures. So far, the update, the VA, as well as the Department of War, have both updated their official web pages on the health.mil as well as the Office of Public Health VA website to reflect the likely exposed language that the case narrative conclusion in the investigation arrived at. Why that matters is because the official notification letters that the Department of War or Department of Defense sent out originally stated that you may have been exposed if you were with your unit, yada yada, and that was not the language that the official case narrative conclusion arrived at. The official case narrative conclusion arrived at the language that people who are basically within the hazard area are considered likely exposed. Next.
Hey, Ron, can you go into the numbers of that?
The number, are you talking about the total numbers?
Total numbers of the likely exposed?
Yeah, it was 101,572, if I remember correctly.
101,572.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Next, they have given us a timeline of approximately 30 to 60 days for the restoration of the previous 46,000 classified documents that was or were located on GulfLink. They are looking at that timeline to have them restored back. We have no idea why they were removed, what the reasoning for it was, or any of that. We have been pushing them to put them back because those belong to the Gulf War veteran community collectively. That's what they were released for. Also, concerning new declassification of documents, the Office of the Secretary Declassification has located 37,000 pages of new CAMASEA documents from CENTCOM, the Department of the Army, and NARA. We are working with them at this time, Vietnam Veterans of America, VBA, and us are working with them to have these documents declassified, released, and loaded onto GulfLink with these 46,000 other previously declassified documents. And this is just the beginning on this. We're not going to stop just with CAMASEA.
This is 37,000 pages just related strictly to CAMASEA.
That is correct.
Okay.
And these are new pages. Nobody has seen these. They have not been released. The only people who have seen them is the intelligence community. So once we have this done, we also plan to go after other health related documents that there's 6 million total documents for the Gulf War. Okay.
6 million. 6 million total documents. What, that are still sealed?
That are still classified.
Damn.
Okay.
There's 1.4 million of those documents that were potentially related to health of service members, and that's directly on their site. Of that, only 46,000 were released back in the 90s.
Hey,
So-
you know, I think it's kind of important. You would explained it to me, but could you go through the process? I think it's important for everybody who's listening to know the process when they declassify something, the process and who sees it and how that goes. So it went from the start to finish. It's just not one person putting a stamp on it. Could you go through that just to kind of, you know,
Yeah.
so everybody understands that it doesn't happen overnight. So
yeah, this is not a fast process. What has to happen is every organization who originally owned that document has to send somebody to review that document. They will at that time determine if that document can be released in the state that it's in, if there has to be redaction, if it has ways and means of collection, intelligence that they don't want released on it, or whatever. All of that will have to take place before any of these documents will be released. And like I said, this is not a fast process. Now, if they dump thousands of people on it, you know, like what they did with the Department of Justice for getting out whatever files they were doing, then yeah, you can get them out quick. But the problem is, I don't think that we are that high of a presidents to warrant them putting thousands of people on these documents, working around the clock to release millions of them. So we are absolutely going to get these 37,000. Okay, now the timeline that is coming, they wouldn't have given me these precise numbers in our meeting today with if they weren't sure that these are coming. Okay. We just got to be patient. They will be uploaded. I don't want these documents. They don't belong to any one Gulf War veteran. They belong to the community as a whole, and they should be put on GulfLink, which was created as a repository for all documents Gulf War related.
Man, but can you believe 6 million documents that haven't been released? And you were saying something earlier that everybody needs to understand. You're not just stopping with that. You're also going to be going further.
Yes,
So I want you to
we want
explain
to go after the health documents. We want to go after the Asagua investigation. We'd like to go after algebra, all those different areas. We'd like to see if we can get documents on the chemical factories that were bombed. There's assessment damage there on those. There's reports. We'd like to get as much stuff as we can made available to the Gulf War veteran community.
Yeah, and you were even talking about the oil well fires, everything. So
Everything.
people understand.
Yes.
And I think that is fantastic. I'm glad you're working, and you are working hard for all of us.
We're trying. BVA and I mean they have stepped up and they're the only organization out there right now who is taking this matter on personally to represent Gulf War veterans. I mean, we don't have anybody else doing any heavy lifting for us concerning this. So I'm telling you now, this, you know, my hat is tipped to them. They allowed me to come in and do the work that I do on behalf of Gulf War veterans. You know, they're, like I said, their motto is never again will one generation of veteran abandon another. And they live, they don't just talk it, they live it.
Yeah.
So,
And I didn't realize how much that they did for us, why we were over there. And then when we got back home and what they're still doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you now that I can't thank them enough. I truly can. And, you know, we'll talk about later in the show about hopefully some changes that are coming. And it's nice to actually have somebody go to Congress, present testimony before the joint session of Congress, both the House and the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, and have them mentioning us, have them mentioning our needs, our stuff that we need. And that's exactly what Tom Burke did in his testimony that he just did here 2 weeks ago.
It was that 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. I was telling Kevin, I was actually watching that on a veterans channel that we'll talk about later on. Today I was watching that testimony.
So, I mean, you know, that hasn't happened since back in the 90s. So, I mean, you know, we're not a big population. We're a small population total with the sick veterans. Okay. If you look at the total number employed and the total number sick. So having a major VSO organization willing to step up and help in this fight makes a huge difference. Huge difference. And I'm going to tell you now that VBA has earned the respect of about any organization they've ever had to deal with, for the simple fact they're not afraid to use their attorneys. And the VA found that out the hard way because they sued the VA and they won. So, you know, they walk silently and they speak softly, but they do bring a big stick.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I carry a big stick too. When I walk around.
Also, during our meeting today, we discussed with Angel Davey, who is the CDMRP toxic exposure head person. And we are also going to try and go to Capitol Hill before the next NDAA bill to meet with representatives on the Armed Service Committee to levy more funding. Currently, the CDMRP funding for the toxic exposure catalog, which has the Gulf War Illness program in it, has been cut back to 15 million. We at least want to get it back up to 45 million or more, and we will be going before the next NDAA bill has to come out to see if we can get additional funding in there, hopefully to help with the Gulf War Illness research program in it.
Okay, so Ron, so on that CDMR, right? Is that right?
Yeah, CDMRP.
Okay, so there's a total of $15 million in the fund for research. Now that's for all, but that is all toxic exposure research to include Desert Storm and everything thereafter. That's what a lot of people need to understand. It's not just us. Well, we're just a small slice of that pie.
That's correct. We're competing with burn pits. We're competing with organophosphate or this or that toxic exposure. We at one time we had a standalone Gulf War Illness program,
right?
And that program received $22 million just by itself. So that went away. They rolled it all in here, and now we are competing. Even though about 80% of the applications come in for the toxic exposure are Gulf War related applications.
Okay.
So, you know, that doesn't mean that they're still going to fund the biggest majority of them, because they've got to spread the money around to make sure as many of these programs in there are funded as possible. But if they have more money, it makes it easier to ensure that our Gulf War Illness research program can get the funding that it needs to continue getting studies done. So next, we were given a live demonstration of the Eiler today. And that was pretty impressive. I have to say, the DOD or DOW, whichever one you want to call them, this is something that is pretty amazing to see it operate live. It will actually go live, according to what we were told today, on 23 March 26 for active duty service members. The veteran community and VA will follow at some point after that, where veterans and the VA will have to have access to go into this. This information on ILR will include the CommASIA, as well as the oil well fires for Desert Storm veterans.
Can I interrupt you one more time, Ron? Can I interrupt you again?
Yeah.
Can we back up? Can we explain exactly what the Eilers is and what because I have no idea what the Eilers is and what it's going to do for me and what am I doing with it?
Yeah, an ILR is an individual longitudinal exposure report or assessment, basically, for each individual. Okay, so
all three of ours are going to be different.
You're correct.
Well, I mean, mine and yours may be similar. It's still going to be different.
That is correct. And based on we don't have a lot of known data from the Gulf War like they do in OIF, OEF, because they had better monitoring and all of that stuff. But the stuff that we do have here, like this oil well fires, they took detailed measurements and air quality samples from the Department of the Army, the VA, and all of that Department of War during the time that this stuff was going on. They have this stuff. They used to have a site set up. It was called Gulf War Fires. You go in there, you'd enter your personal Social Security number, and it would give you your personal assessment. Now, granted, I don't think anybody ever had an assessment that said it was bad for you. It was all good. You know, breathing that stuff is good for you.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, having this information listed on ILR will help your PCP, because they'll be able to pull this up. They'll be able to determine what exposures that are associated with your deployment.
Okay.
Personally, okay, for your individual, each individual. So, will everybody have the CommASIA stuff in there? No, that will impact 101,000, I think 572, something like that.
Okay.
But I did see the information. I got to see it in there for the CommASIA, and I actually took some pictures, screenshots. I shared them with you there. But nonetheless, it's nice to see that information will be put into it, and you will also, where this becomes important is you have a lot of people who were with transportation units. I was explaining to Kevin earlier. These people, they are all over the place. Okay,
right?
Their company headquarters may be back in Riyadh, but they're attached up here to forward deployment unit or forward deployed units, and there's no record of where they were. So with ILR, these people will be able to go in and self-report any exposure events, their locations, where they were at, that may not be known by the Department of Defense because their home base was back in Riyadh. So now they're saying, okay, I was attached here with, let's say, Phase Line Gold or Objective Gold or whatever during the Gulf War I was attached to, let's say, HHC first at a 504 or 505, whatever. And I was driving transportation vehicle, bringing bullets, beans, water, whatever. That's what I was doing. And now they can enter this information in their individual ILR report, and hopefully the Department of War can go back and recheck this and account for these people. And that's not a huge number, but it's a number that still needs to be accounted for.
Right, but it also a huge number. So let's just take, for me, for instance, I was on a supply ship.
Mhm.
So, we hit Jabal, we hit all the places, Bahrain, everywhere up and down the Gulf. We
Mhm.
hit everywhere. I can't remember the exact dates, but would that be able to be known into my record for the toxic exposures on oil well fires?
Well, that's what we're going to have to see. I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't get to see the oil well fire assessment. I was told it will be in every Gulf War veterans record. I mean,
that
and
because that's
that
good.
covers a lot of places.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I mean, we were all everywhere.
Well, I would think something like the Navy. I mean, every time the ship moved somewhere, I'm sure it was tracked. I mean, written and documented. Versus like what Ron's saying, like a National Guard or Reserve
Right.
truck driver that gets tasked out. His movements, his individual movements, might not have been, and I can see that. I remember having, what was that? I forget what they were. 81
I mean,
mics, I believe,
Yeah.
truck drivers being assigned to drive us around that were National Guard or reserves,
Yep.
and
And their units may be dissolved now.
yeah, where
Yeah,
somebody
because
like
after the war.
right
and
exactly,
and,
yeah, but like
and
the
like
Navy,
we had log books.
well, yeah, that's what I mean. That so I bet your
Yeah.
records are actually very very
Exactly.
well kept. So I bet yours is gonna be fine.
That's because we were squared away.
Well, okay, whatever.
I don't know if I like that attitude right there. Is there anything else you want to bring up about that?
That takes care of it. We will be doing follow-ups. Probably, I'm going to say 3-4 months down the road.
Yes.
To go back in and check progress. They will be sending us some written updates in between that period and some links with live sites on it. So, hopefully, once we get there, the main thing right now, the big push is the getting the previous declassified records put back, and then the new declassification of records, getting that taken care of. And like I said, that's going to be a pretty heavy lift.
Right. And I think the other problem.
Oh, go ahead.
Wade.
Oh, so those records, when they get posted back, are they going to health.mil or to GulfLink?
It will go to GulfLink, which will be within the health.mil site.
Within health. Okay, so to
That
GulfLink.
way it is safe from viruses, attacks, and everything else.
So
Rather
you go to
than just having it
health.mil.
out on its own.
Okay.
Because
okay.
I also have to look at it. This is just me, but I also have to look at it. The first time we were out there, I think the oil well fires when they were putting them out was worse than why we were out there. Because the second time we went 92, it was just hazy, and that's all you can do is smell oil because they were putting out all the fires out there. So it was weird feeling when we first went out there. And so
I'll tell you, experiences vary. The people who are most impacted by the oil well fires were the Marines. Those Marines were drenched in
oil
and benzene. It was literally raining on them while they were sitting out there guarding those oil fields. And everything they were eating, MRAs were getting crude on it. I mean, it was nasty.
Oh yeah, man! Could you
They did
imagine?
it for about 3 weeks. Bless their hearts. I'll tell you right now. That was brutal. And like I said, all of the research as far as like benzene and all that. This is one of the things that took me so long, where we had petitioned the VA on adding the acute leukemia and a chronic anemia as a presumptive condition. It took 9 years before that finally happened. But all of the research was based on low term or low dose, long term exposure, like sitting in a car in New York idling. You're a taxi driver, your windows down, you're breathing the smoke from the vehicle in front of you. Now, Benzene is a known carcinogen. It can cause cancer, okay? But there has never been another exposure event where you had 700 and some oil well fires burning, people breathing that stuff for 2 to 3 weeks straight, and out right in the middle of it there. There's no way to document that type of exposure because it's just, you can't replicate it on another human being. It's not ethical.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said it like that. I mean, that is fantastic. And I want to get into the next part. Are y'all ready for this? The respect and integrity of veterans. Things need to change.
Yep.
And I'm a firm believer in that because every site that I used to go on, I really would watch them. I mean, I still go on them and I watch them. It's one vet attacking another vet, you know, and I don't care if you fought all the way from World War II all the way till the guys who are in now. We all experience something as veterans, and we should stick together.
I agree 100%. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I go to these sites and I used to be in there more, but I unless I've got information, I stay pretty busy. I don't like to go on the sites because I don't like seeing the arguing, the political drama that, you know, people need to understand. Neither party cares more about you than the other party, period.
Correct.
You can't get crap done legislatively without having people, bipartisan work or effort from both sides. So anybody out here pushing that this party is better than that party, or this administration loves you more than that administration, it's bull. Leave that crap out of the groups. Be respectful to your other veterans and understand that you only get stuff done if you have bipartisan support. If you don't, it will not get done, period.
Exactly. And I also will say this, it's like the shorts that we put out. Somebody went on there and they were like, hey, y'all are being negative or about political this, political that. And we have to comment on there. Show me anywhere in the short that actually is political. Nothing is political. This is the one place where I can tell you we don't talk politics because we're all equal. It don't matter what side of the fence we're on. We should all be together.
Agreed.
And that's a problem that I see is that people, I mean, I have people who send me political stuff all the time. I don't even look at it anymore because I'm tired of it.
No.
And we got guys that are over there fighting with Iran right now, and we need to support each and every one of them. I bet most y'all don't know that I want you to explain what the cactus is that was on the picture, Wade. Explain that.
That's the unit, the 103rd Sustainment Battalion Reserve Unit. That's that particular unit's based out of Des Moines, Iowa, and that's where my son-in-law's part of unit.
And they watch our show. They're learning what we went through over there. And so, when these guys come home, let's put it this way. When we came home from Desert Storm, I got off the airplane, it was about a month or two after, and I walked into the terminal. My whole family was there. They had everybody was waving the flag, cheering. But what I saw in the airport that you don't see the courtesy anymore. But I had a Vietnam veteran walk up to me and he said, "Son, did you just get back from Desert Storm?" I was like, "Yes, sir." And he put his hand on me, on my shoulder, and shook my hand. And he was like, "Thank you very much for your service." I mean, that's what we need to be doing.
Yep. And see, people don't realize our generation, Desert Storm veterans, we are the sons and daughters of Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about that. your parents, if they served, were in Vietnam. Okay. They did. Simple. And there should never, ever be this division. And that's one thing that I truly struggle to understand. You know, it's like people need to understand you don't get to pick your deployments. You go when you sign up where they tell you to go. Whether you as a person may agree with that or you don't agree with it, you signed up to do your job. Okay. So when they say go, you go, period. You know, blaming the warrior because you don't like this or you don't like that makes no sense. And there's a lot of that going around. Well, we can't support these troops because we don't agree with the war. You know what? They didn't have a choice about the war. They went where they were sent, just like you did, I did.
Right.
I didn't pick my deployment.
And the other thing is too, this is what bothers me. It doesn't matter if a Democrat or Republican's in office, but if a Democrat's in office, they're like, if you voted for this person, or for Republicans in office, you voted for this person, you're not a real vet. You're a disgrace. How can you say that about somebody that went out there and did the same exact thing you did?
That's exactly my point. And it needs to stop because I see it in these groups. And it's not healthy. It's not right. And people need to understand that as long as you're fighting amongst each other, we are doomed. Okay. We're doomed because you're not going to get anything accomplished. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to understand and have some empathy, regardless if you're a sick veteran, if you're not a sick veteran. The sick veterans I've seen, they catch a lot of slack from the guys and girls who are well. Well, I'm not sick. Well, what's wrong with you? I served right there beside you. If I knew that, I'd be happy to answer it. What research has shown is it boils down to genetics. A toxic exposure may do something to you that it doesn't do to me, or may do something to me that it doesn't do to you. And your genetics may be stronger, mine may be weaker. It is what it is.
No, right. I totally agree. And I mean, it was really weird because when I came home, it's like my uncle's the first thing that said, "Hey, are you all right?" I'm like, "Absolutely, I'm all right." And they're like, "Okay, good." They checked up, did. And what was amazing, think about every single person in the United States that sent us care packages and letters. People you did not know were sending letters to the troops of showing support. Why isn't that being done today? You want to know why? Because we're all fighting amongst each other.
Correct.
And if every veteran group, I don't care if you served, when you served, or if you served, or whatever, if every veteran stuck together, could you imagine what we could accomplish?
It would be something special. It really would. And that's one of the reasons that I'm hoping that here coming up in the near future that VBA is going to vote to sustain and open up their membership for any veteran who served, period. Okay. I don't care if it's an OIF. I don't care if it's OEF, OND, Gulf War, Panama, Grenada, Somalia. All of these people right now, there are 6 million people who fought in our current wars. Okay. For the past 20 years, there are 12 to 18 million veterans that served before that. They have no representation that need. I mean, anybody out here looking at Panama veterans? They use dioxin there. What about the Korean veterans that went to the DMZ? That was a combat zone. They served. They used defoliant there too.
How about Bosnia?
Bosnia, Herzegovina. I mean, all of that. All those people. They have no voice. They have nobody representing them. And you know, you can't join IAVA. You can't join Wounded Warriors, even though you breathe the same dirt. Okay, even though you went to the same place, you can't join them because you are a pre 9/11 veteran. And this whole thing with pre 9/11, post 9/11 is a bunch of BS. It is BS.
I'll say for it's bullshit. I'll say for it.
There you go.
It is.
It is, and you're creating two different classes of veterans. Like somehow these people are more important than what these people were, and I just don't understand that. You can give them money; they'll take your money with Wounded Warriors. They'll take your money with IAVA, but they won't allow you to participate and be represented by them.
Or get any kind of support or benefits from them.
Correct.
Right. And so this is the problem that I've always had with it is why is there a pre 9/11? Because let me tell you, the guys who won over and the guys who are there right now, they got oil well fires going on right now. You never know if they're going to be hit with sarin gas or mustard gas. You don't know what Iran has.
Yep.
So you sit there and tell me that them guys ain't going to suffer from the same things we're suffering from. And this is just a conflict that's lasted longer than what our war did.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. You know, this dividing of veterans based on when you served needs to stop. And sadly, the people doing it, they have lots of money. Okay. They have a lot and I'm not saying they haven't busted their ass. They've served for 20 years. Most of them have more time in Iraq. I mean, some of them have 5 years total.
Yeah.
Okay, in deployments. I mean, that's a lot. So I'm not taking that away from them, but you know, acting like your deployment is better than anybody else's deployment before that, or these people didn't do anything here, and that's the way they tend to steer Congress to get more for themselves rather than looking at a collective whole as the veteran community.
Right. And we had a full alliance in our war. That's why we had how many nations out there that are suffering from the same thing we do. And we're the ones who can sit back because most countries don't have a voice like we do. They don't have the freedoms we do. And so our voice, I get messages. I don't think y'all understand. I have a guy from Australia, people from Germany, people from all over the world. Iran watches our program. Iraq watches our program. I mean, there's people all over the world now starting to get, now, wait a second. We all need to stick together and we need to come together as one.
Yep.
And you know, the money, the problems, the issues that everybody's having right now, we're all in it together.
Yep.
So let's stick together.
We carry a louder voice together and collectively than we do individually by far.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I actually have a young man that is a customer. I'm not going to say his name on here because I don't have his permission. But let me tell you, he lost his best friend. He lost his dog. He's a dog handler. Lost his dog. Lost half of his unit on the first go around out there. I couldn't imagine it, but I can be there for him. And you know, I know what war was like. I know what the thought process of how I felt being over there. And, you know, and he doesn't look at what he did was worse than what I did.
No.
And I wish everybody would just work that way. And go ahead, Wade. I can see something's on that mind.
Oh, no, I just totally agree. It's just, like I told my son-in-law, Desert Storm was the foothold that put us in the Middle East. We weren't there. We never left. I told him before he left, I didn't support the deployment. I personally, I don't want to see troops in the Middle East. I don't want to see American lives lost, but I support him and I support the mission overall because he's a troop and he's called upon. That's what he signed up for. He signed a blank check just like everybody else. And like Ron says, you don't have a choice of when you deploy or where you go. You go at the, basically when the commander in chief says go, that's when you go. But I totally 1,000% support him and his unit and all the other troops. I hate this personally because it did hit home. I hate to see them there. So, but I know that they're there doing their mission. And
just to tell you something about that, and this just happened here within the past week, and I know for a fact that this happened. There was a letter with over 30 or 40 coalition partners in the veteran community that was a letter to show support for the fallen troops that you mentioned from that unit. Some of these organizations refused to sign on to that letter of support for these fallen service members. Now stop and think about that. Because you don't like the deployment or you don't like who's in charge, you're going to crap on the families of these fallen service members who are doing their damn job.
right.
You're not going to sign on. And then you had some of them who well, they didn't quite, they wouldn't say we're not going to sign it, but they just abstained from signing it, which is chicken shit.
I agree,
Well,
man.
sorry.
It is.
Like I said, you don't have to like deployment. I don't like sending our troops anywhere. Okay. I'd rather see them stay home, do what we do here. And but that's not my call. But I will back those troops 110%, regardless of who sends them, when they get sent, because it's not their call. They're doing their job and they need our support. And those families need our support.
Exactly.
And I want to say, and this is the one thing why me and Wade sat back, we talked, and Wade has a really good Facebook page now. It's called Veterans All Eras, One Family. And that's even for people who are married to veterans, who have kids and veterans. It's veterans all over. This page is for all of us to get together on Facebook. And Wade's going to give out information. It's not to bicker. I mean, the first time I see somebody bicker, they're going to be off. I'm done. Me and Wade have literally talked about this is what needs to happen. The veteran community, doesn't matter what conflict, war. And I'll tell you the other thing that burns my butt. I almost said something else, but burns my butt. Is you think about the people that didn't deploy over in Desert Storm, everything that they had to do for us while we were over there, sending logistics, getting stuff up. They should got just as many medals as we did, because without the intelligence, without the cargo, without anything, we would not have been there ready and won that war so fast.
No, that's 100% true.
Well, and even I say post 9/11, but as post 9/11, as different troops were rotating in and out, and we talked about how the National Guard and Reserves used to be known as weekend warriors. Well, they had so many damn deployments in a 20-year war. They're just as trained up as active duty troops, but as troops were moving out of bases, Reserve and Guard troops were moving into those bases to maintain them while those troops were gone. It was a collective effort, collective team effort. So it doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you turned a wrench on an aircraft, or if you're a special forces operator, everybody in between has a mission. They have a job.
Yep.
It's a team effort.
Or a lonely bosun mate.
Or a lonely bosun mate.
And I mean, I appreciate this message. I think this needed to be discussed. I do. I think this needed to be discussed because, I mean, people out there, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this year, just in the last 6 months, Iowa's lost 4 lives, for overseas deployments, 2 National Guard, 2 reserves, and I mean, it's the price of war sucks, man. I mean, everybody signs that blank check, but it absolutely sucks. It hits home. It's hard.
Well, I'll tell you right now. I mean, and I keep seeing somebody that pops up down there. I mean, let me address whatever he's trying to ask me. What exactly is he trying to ask me?
This is the questions he's asking.
No, Moochie is attached to Gulfport. Just found out today at the Community Care PCP. Thus, none of my remanded items from BVA document are in my records. They have to have an ICD-10 code to put stuff from test scans in record. Catch 22. What exactly is he referring to? Because you cannot file for Gulf War illness. There is no scheduler rating that has been created. A scheduler rating has to be created by the Veterans Benefits Administration and add it to 38 CFR 3.317 in order to file a claim for Gulf War illness. That hasn't been done. It's not in the process of being done currently. I don't know when or if it will be done.
Right. And I don't know what he's asking about the MUCMI.
It's medically unexplained chronic multi-symptom illness.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I can tell you, my doctor told me that she's not putting it in my record.
Let's see, it's in my record. I've got it in my problem list. My PCP had to enter the ICD code. She had to write it in my hand. Then she wrote the T75 830, and then underneath that she wrote Gulf War illness. But there it is. I mean, it's something that's in my problem list. They're treating me for. They've been treating me for it for years, but it didn't have a ICD-10 code. So I mean, it is what it is.
And as of this time, you cannot claim compensation for it.
Right.
And also, I mean, I don't even know if outside doctors are putting it inside. And are they? Are they?
There are 2 veterans on the outside that have had it added to theirs.
He says, here, I'll explain it again. Yeah, because I'm not understanding what you're saying neither, Jason. But
maybe Jason can send you an email and you can forward that to Ron.
Yeah. Okay, number 1, providers cannot put anything in the record unless there is a ICD code.
Yeah, there is an ICD code for Gulf War illness.
Yeah, there is there is an ICD code.
It does too. Moochie is a chronically medically unexplained diagnosable illness like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, or irritable bowel syndrome. Those are only examples. That's not an exclusive list. There are additional ones, but they each have their own ICD code. Each one of them, you can look it up. I don't know what it is right off my head, but you can look it up. Each one of them has a case definition that they use for each one of those conditions.
He said yes, but it isn't put into into a test. It's a scan, isn't in the record.
I have no idea what that means.
Me neither. I've never heard that.
my personal records, my on my problem list, it lists each one of those conditions that are Moochie. It lists
Yes,
each one of them.
yes, Jason, I can answer that for you. Yes, it can be attached to ICD code. Yes. And even though you were told no, it's just your doctor. That's what it is. I'm telling you, because I went in and my doctor says, you got 5 out of the 6. But she goes, I don't need to put you in it. She goes, you're already, you're already, in the exposure. So I was like, okay.
All right. I'm sorry about the distraction.
No, it's okay. But I mean, but thanks, Ron. Thanks for coming to clarifying everything. I mean, thank you for all you do. Thank you for getting up there and everything. I mean, you're doing a wonderful job. I want to thank, the VVA, and James, he's a Desert Storm vet. That's a part of them. And they work a lot of hours. You work a lot of hours. And I mean, and you do it for free. That's what people need to understand. You're not going up there getting paid to do a thankless job.
That is 100% correct.
So what I would like to do now is we're about to go into after show. If y'all want to get a hold of me, I actually pressed the wrong button. Y'all can get y'all can get a hold of me at Kevin Simon at goldforcesideffects.com. Kevin Simon at goldforcesideffects.com. If y'all have any questions, send me an email. And Jason, send me the information that you talk about. I'll relay it to Ron and maybe Ron can better understand it. I just don't think we're understanding what you're trying to say. But thank y'all for showing up. Thank y'all for coming. Ron, thank you for being on here. James, I hope your family does great. Wade, thank you for coming on also. Me and Wade work probably more hours on this than I do cutting hair. We're always in communication about getting everything out there. So we will see y'all next week. Hey, y'all go join our after the show. And man, we're going to get on it. Thank you.
Sports Troops.